started out with my my ex-brother-in-law was getting married, and my ex, mother-in-law said, "Can you do some flowers for Matthew?" And it started like that. I made bunches of flowers, and it was fun. And then someone else said, "Oh, you did a beautiful job. Can you do this wedding?" And it was really just a hobby. I had a full-time job at the time that I was doing the weddings. And I made my early mistakes on family and friends. There's a lot of learning that goes into, I guess, anything really, but you have to learn about flowers, and each flower has its personality and its own, its own ways of wanting to be handled. And I kind of liken it to making a great salad, and you find all the best ingredients, and you know who has the best lettuce and who has the best tomatoes, and tomatoes don't like to be in the refrigerator, and lettuce does like to be in the refrigerator. And the same thing with flowers. Each flower likes to be handled differently.
Wedding Professionals Uncensored. Orange Films original series.
Well, so I'll start by saying my name is Melanie, and the name of my business is Melarosa Incorporated. And going to say I'm roughly 30 years working with flowers. And yeah, 30, maybe even more. I'm giving away my age right now, but all right, whatever. It's a long time. And I found myself, how did I start? Let's see. I was doing a junior year of college in Israel. And at that time, I was working for a family, and they had every Friday night their Shabbat dinner, and the lady of the house liked to fill her home with flowers. So I would escort her to the flower market in Israel, and we'd buy bundles and bundles of flowers and put them all over our house. And it was a beautiful thing to do. And I bought my own vase and brought it back to my dormitory room, and I started doing flowers for myself every Friday night. And I think that's really how it started with the flowers. And when I came back home, I wanted to work with flowers, and I found a job in a factory making bouquets on a production line, and that's really how I started in the flower business. No, I don't have a retail shop. I just do weddings and some corporate here and there, but my main business are the weddings. And I started out not doing weddings. I sort of started supplying bouquets for small independent supermarkets. There are a lot of dynamics in weddings, as we know, and I think a lot of it comes, we think it starts with, maybe some sort of the financial aspect of it, and who's paying for the flowers, and that person may feel like they have more to say. I always approach it as it's the bride's choices, but it's not always the case. You have other people influencing, the bride. And that sometimes gets uncomfortable. You have the bride as your client, and the person who's paying for the flowers is your client, and you walk a fine line to be respectful of both. So sometimes we get into a little dicey situation with future mothers-in-law, or a strong, dominant mother that has an opinion that's opposite what the bride wants. Let's say the bride is looking for some sort of organic farm-looking wedding in a mason jar with weeds and grasses, and the mother wants this elegant rose orchid, chandelier, crystal candelabras, because she doesn't want her guests she doesn't want to be embarrassed by that kind of look. So that could be one. Well, I think that probably the best thing is to coming into meeting a florist, or have a good idea of what it is that you want to create for your wedding day, and maybe discuss that with the person who's offering to pay, if they have an opinion on this. Sometimes a parent will write a check and say, do whatever you like, but that's not always the case. So I think coming in, don't let it play out, the drama of that scenario at the florist meeting. Know ahead of time, basically what you're looking for. Is it some sort of elegant classic look, or do you want something modern or contemporary, or something more wild? I think those are things you can explore with Pinterest and other images online, and do your homework. Come in prepared with what your color palette may be. I mean, of course you can explore this with myself or the florist, but have some strong ideas. That's always really helpful. I never push my own vision. I listen. I think I'm a really good listener. So I let the people talk about it, and I find a common thread. Maybe the groom loves blue. Maybe the bride likes wildflowers. So let's find a blue wildflower. Let that be an accent. Of course, the venue is the most important, criteria for me to give suggestions. I mean, I will make suggestions, but I'm not one to right off the bat say, no, that's not going to work, because most things can work. You make them work. You can have little accents of various things that the bride and groom like, and you find a happy medium. Just like marriage, just like this is all about compromising. So it's a great way when you're planning your wedding to learn that this is how it's going to be. When you're together, you're going to make compromises, and you want the other person to be happy and have what they want at the wedding. And you find that with however, whether it's the menu or what's more important to the groom. Is it the music? Does he have a special drink that he wants to have? And maybe the bride is more involved with the florals and the colors, and you find your way, what's more important to each other. Well, if I think something's not going to look good, and I really think it's not going to look good, I will say that I would recommend something else. I feel like that's not the look for this particular venue. Like, we had a wedding, an elegant wedding, and the bride wanted these dyed rainbow roses, which are, you could say that they're tacky or cheesy, but then they're whimsical and beautiful also. So you could go both ways with it. And I said, let's not use those roses in the main ballroom, but why don't we bring them upstairs to the cocktail area, where we're only spending an hour. We could have a little fun up there with those roses, and we'll choose a table linen that sort of offsets it and make it fun in an elegant way. And that's how we used those rainbow roses in that particular wedding. But you don't want to sort of shoot down someone's dreams or vision, because after all, it's not my wedding. My job is to render your design. I'm not taking over unless a client comes to me and says, we have no idea what we want to do. We trust you, and we want you to tell us. That's a different story, and then that's when I'll rise to the occasion. But otherwise, I rather see the couple come to this agreement on the flowers together, what they like. The biggest challenge is to get to the bottom line with the budget. We have sometimes grand ideas, but we can't afford them, and we have to know that's really, for me, the biggest issue.
Wedding Professionals Uncensored. Orange Films original series. Subscribe, share, spread the word.